safety. I am your host, Kanai Andrews, and we have another exciting show for you today. As Cage Warriors flyweight world champion Jake Hadley is here today to talk about his amazing win at Cage Warriors 117 and some other interesting developments in his career. All right, so please remember to download both the BarnBurner and Zingo TV apps from the respective iOS and Android app stores. The apps are free to download, so remember to like and rate and leave a comment while you are downloading because we want to hear from you. Zingo TV is also available from Amazon Fire and Fire Sticks, Google Chromecast, Roku Sticks, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. And as always, I'm joined by our Countdown co-host here, Noel Club. Noel Club is a boxing certified coach with Boxing Ontario, where he trains elite amateur and professional athletes. He is also the host of the amazing shows Knockout and Club Tracks here on the BarnBurner TV Network. And he's also, of course, an online columnist here at MMA Crossfire, where I am the editor-in-chief. He joins us from his home in Toronto, Ontario. Noel, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having the show again. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, it's a big show here today. We are presently awaiting Jake, who should be here very shortly. I understand he's having a few technical issues getting on. So while we're waiting for Jake, Noel, let's give a special shout out actually first to MMA Crossfire Nation, who is watching today and continues to support the show. Special shout out to MMA Crossfire and the Crossfire Nation. Of course, I am the editor-in-chief, so I really salute you guys for continuing to support us. And I understand we have a big European audience today, of course, which is no surprise, as Mr. Hadley, White Zombie, is going to be here today. So shout out to all you folks across the pond. And we will get to Jake in just a minute. But while we're waiting, Noel, let's check out what happened last night in the world of the UFC, who held UFC on ESPN Plus 41 last night from, of course, the UFC Apex there in Las Vegas. You know, we had a nice main event there. We saw the Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson, there make a statement there and really serve notice to the streaking Jeff Neal, who is trying to improve on his number 11 ranking there. And of course, Wonder Boy taking a comfortable unanimous decision win.
Yeah, it was well done. I mean, he was. That's a phrase right there. Was commanding, and he is in control of that match there last night. I was very impressed. He had striking wise, excellent, but his total control, I was really impressed.
All right, and it looks like we have Mr. Hadley here showing up here. Looks like he might be having some audio issues there. Not quite sure, but yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. Stephen Thompson, you know, the talk was that Jeff Neal was going to, you know, pose some problems there, maybe get inside or maybe solve the puzzle that was Stephen Thompson. But, you know, even though Thompson at 37 years old looked great, he controlled the range. He lit up Neal pretty much for the entire fight with his vintage strikes and kicks and punches, and didn't give Neal a chance to get unloaded there, save for a couple of flurries there at the end of some of the rounds. But, you know, Stephen Thompson is a guy who's fought for the title before. You know, we saw him get the draw against Tyrone Woodley. And, you know, he did lose the second fight, but it was a very close fight. And, of course, it was a very cautious Tyrone Woodley in both fights. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see where exactly Thompson lands, as he's currently ranked number 5. But at the very least, Thompson retains his place in the title shot conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely there. Yeah, he should be back in the conversation now after that performance.
Yeah, and you know, overall, a good night of fights there at you know, at the UFC Apex. You know, we saw again some up and comers there make some great statements there, both in the prelims and in, of course, the main card. You know, it never fails to amaze me just the opportunities that these fighters take once they're afforded that opportunity. I'm just looking at the main card. We saw Rob Font there. Rob Font, a guy who has been so close in terms of getting into that title shot conversation. He's ranked, but not in the top 5. And he takes out one of the top ranked guys there, and Marlon Moraes, number 3 in the bantamweight rankings there, with an impressive performance. What can I say? Really stopping him and taking out Marlon.
Yeah, exactly. It's very impressive. Very impressive. That makes it more exciting. Seeing some fights of that nature come up, where it's like you weren't expecting that kind of result, that kind of outcome, and boom, very, very impressive. I love seeing that. Makes it very exciting for us fight fans.
Exactly. There were, of course, there were some disappointments there. Greg Hardy, the Dana White protege, Dana White Contender Series protege, coming up short there. Looked like he was well on his way to defeating Marcin Tybura, but just basically ran out of gas. And once the fight went to the ground, we saw that Greg Hardy needs a lot of work on the ground. He didn't know what to do, and Marcin Tybura just took advantage of that fact and finished him in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. He looked lost there, and that's part of the game, unfortunately. Get caught in those bad moments, bad positions.
Yeah, and he wasn't the only one. We saw Jillian Robertson, Canada's hope, there on the card there. Jillian Robertson taking on the Brazilian Talia Santos. And, Jillian Robertson is a savage. I mean, that is her nickname, but she literally is a savage on the ground. Once she drags you down, usually you can play the Jaws theme, and it's just a matter of time before you get tapped out. But, Talia Santos, well-schooled and probably well-prepared for the game of Robertson, and holding more than her own on the ground, but using her strikes, basically, Noel, to neutralize the ground game of Jillian Robertson.
Yeah, great. It was great work on the hands. I have to say, I was really impressed. I love seeing that kind of thing going on. Bring on more striking, as I always say in the show.
Yeah, it was just another great night of fights there. I'm looking at the main card. Jose Aldo, a guy who's he has been near the top of the division for such a long time, but has been on a skid as of late, really bouncing back last night. Really a vintage performance from Jose Aldo, using those vintage leg kicks and strikes to neutralize Vera and keep him at least, somewhere in the mid-range of a possible title run once again.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I can see Jake's chomping at the bit here.
Yeah, we can see Jake here. Sorry, can you hear us, Jake?
Skype. I couldn't work it. I didn't the Zoom. Sorry, I didn't know how to do it. I've never done it before. You see.
Oh, no worries.
No problem,
worries.
Jake.
We're glad to see that you're able to overcome Zoom there. Winning the belt is the hard part. This Zoom stuff, don't worry about it. You're here. And, there's a big audience here that really wants to hear your thoughts on that exciting win that you had at Cage Warriors 117. I mean, talk us through. I know I saw the post-fight interview where you basically said that, you went where the fight took you, and you kind of took advantage of Luke's aggressiveness. But was there an original game plan going into the fight? And if so, what was that?
Well, I just wanted to, fight my fight and, play to my strengths. But, Luke came out there and he was, a bit overly aggressive and came at me swinging punches, like, a bit over aggressive. So the takedown was just there for the taking. So I just took that and, I felt like I was doing well on the ground. So at every beginning of the round, he would come running at me again and try to catch me. So he was just there for the taking for me. And when I took him down, I was dominating him. But the problem was he was just looking to survive on the floor, to be honest, because he was just looking to get to the end of the round to try and knock me out again at the beginning of the round. Well, obviously, fighting, it ain't all about just having a fight and this and that. It's about using your brain and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I just used my brain. Obviously, I could have beat him up striking, in my opinion. but he was in there going overly aggressive, and I didn't want to put myself in unnecessary danger. So the technique was there, so I just took my opportunity, took him down, and won the fight that.
Now, near the end of the first round, you almost choked him out there with the rear naked choke. How close were you? Did you feel like with a few more seconds you could have had it?
Yeah, it was very close. I mean, he was making noises in there, gurgling, he was on his way out there. But Luke, he's a tough lad. You know what I mean? He's I know him on the UK scene. He's a tough lad. He was the Cage Warriors champion, and that's what he's going into the fight. To be honest, going into the fight, I felt like his strengths was his toughness. It was one of his main strengths. His toughness, his fitness, and his physical strength. That was his main strengths, as in skills. I think skill wise, when I was having a look at him, before I fought him, when I was doing my studying, I felt like skill wise he wasn't on my level really anywhere. In my opinion, he wasn't on my level anywhere. I felt like his biggest danger was being strong, tough, and power. So so the thing with toughness. It's it's a good thing to have, but it don't make champions. You know what I mean? Smartness makes champions. You got to be tough and smart, and that's one thing I got over all these guys is very high fight IQ.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very mature performance there because I think they're, an overly aggressive fighter might have, tried to, go for those submissions or try to finish the fight that would have given him an opportunity to get up and maybe get back into the fight. But I noticed that you rushed nothing. You basically, you righted him. You made sure that you had the advantage wherever, if he tried to reverse position or in the transitions there. And you basically made sure that you had the advantage in pretty much most of the situation there.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I know he's got good grappling himself. He's finished most of his fights on the ground himself. I didn't give him any of that space to, try sweep me or try get back up to his feet. I stayed very tight on top of him. I was constantly looking for the submission, but it's kind of hard to submit a guy who's just looking to survive. That's what I feel. Yeah. He was just looking to survive. I had situations where I was on the mount with him, and I was hitting him hard, and he'd just buck and just try to give his back. You know what I mean? So really, I had to take his back there. So, he's a tough lad. He's a tough lad.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, hats off to Luke there for not giving up and giving his all there. So how does it feel to be the Cage Warriors flyweight world champion?
Well, to me, it feels normal because I've won a world title before. I won the EFC World Championship. That's like an MMA promotion based in South Africa. I won their world title as well before. So when I won the Cage Warriors world title, it just felt more normal to me. It felt like, I've done this before. I've been in a 5-round fight before. That was my second 5-round fight I've been in, and I'm only 7-0. So that's quite big, really, to be in 2 5-round fights at only 7-0. So it felt normal. I feel like even though I've got 7 fights, I feel very experienced in there. I feel calm in there. I feel like I see everything. I feel calm. I feel good in there, and it just feels normal to be champion to me.
Yeah, I didn't see any jumping jacks or any boisterous celebrations there. I guess, what is the saying? When you get to the end zone or you win the belt, try to act like you've done it before. And I think that's what you did. And how about your teammate there in the co-main event there, your mate Sam, with the finish there? What did you think of that fight? Were you able to see a bit of it?
I haven't been able. I weren't able to see a bit of it. Straight after. I have watched little bits of it since. Sam's one of my main sparring partners. He's one of the top guys in Europe as well. Like he's had 15. He's like a 15 fight plus pro veteran. Like on the brink of the UFC as well. And to be sparring on a regular with a guy at that level, it's just going to get us both better. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're both going to be in the UFC pretty soon. You know what I mean? And to have sparring like that in the gym, it's, you know, very high level. I think my sparring in preparation for the fight was a lot harder than my fight. And to be honest, I know his sparring for the fight was a lot harder than his fight. So, you know, that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
The training should definitely be harder than the fight. So that was definitely a good sign for you. You mentioned the UFC there, and you know, I did see your Twitter feed there declaring yourself ready for the octagon there. You know, so what is the status of that? Has the UFC reached out to you yet, or what is the game plan for getting to the octagon?
No, the UFC haven't reached out to me yet. To be completely fair, to be completely honest, I'm quite shocked, really. I know I'm only 7-0. I've only had 7 fights, but if you look at the caliber of the last 4 guys I've beaten, 3 of them was world champions at the time I beat them. And another one of the guys I beat was one of the top flyweights in UK/Europe. For the last 5, 6, 7 years, he's been one of the top guys out there. You know, I fought on Bellator already.
Yeah.
As well. So like, you know, to be honest, I know I'm only 7-0, but it was a shock to me that I ain't heard nothing yet, to be honest. But you know, if I don't hear anything, I'll just take another fight and I'll just keep fighting. I'll just keep you know, more reasons for the UFC to sign me, because I'm out here, I'm beating the best guys there is. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, Luke was the best guy in Europe. Apart from myself, he was number 2 at the time when I beat him. So, you know, and I beat him with fashion, didn't I? You know, I beat him completely. I mean, one of the judges' scorecards was 50-42. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, you know, I'm beating these.
Clean and tidy.
Huh?
Clean and tidy, as they say.
Yeah. So I thought they would sign me, but you know, I ain't no major rush. But I feel like I deserve it, especially when you see certain guys signing to the UFC, and they're like, you know, I've seen flyweight sign to the UFC who are 6-3, and the biggest win against someone who's 3-2. Like, I've got to look them up and stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, well, how can you be signing to the UFC? Your biggest win's 3-2, and you got 3 losses on your record. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't even let them challenge me for my Cage Warriors title. You know what I mean? No, you're not even good enough to challenge me for my title. You know, these sort of guys, mate, and I'm just being completely truthful.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I think like when you say UFC have got the best fighters in the world, in my opinion, they haven't, because they haven't got me. You know what I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah.
You say you got the best fighters in the world. Well, how come you haven't got me? Like,
That's a good question.
I feel like I'd beat the top. You know, I'd beat the top 15 right now. You know what I mean? They could put me in with any of the guys. You know, you think I'm cocky or something. You think, oh, this is a cocky guy. You don't know what he's on about. Whatever. Anyone thought that? Well, put me against someone who you think they can beat me then. No problem. I'll fight anyone. You know what I mean? I'm just hungry and I'm ready to go.
Well, Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard and Dana White, if you're listening, well, over to you.
That's right.
We patiently await the response to
Sign him over.
Interesting question here posed by the Cage Warriors flyweight champion. Over to you, Noel.
Certainly. I was going to ask you, whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Birmingham in the UK. I'm in a little place. It's in Birmingham. It's called Albury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like. Okay. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Interesting. Actually, I have a lot of family in the UK myself. That's where my family's originally from, UK as well. So, no, that's very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Very interesting. So, do you train in Birmingham, or you have to train elsewhere in your case for, you know, have that kind of facility and sparring partners? Do you have to go somewhere else for sparring and training?
No, so I do all my training in Birmingham. I do it at a gym called Fearless MMA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got a lot of top guys in our gym, a lot of flyweight, bantamweights.
Oh, perfect.
I also do some training at Renegade. You know, do some, you know, I train alongside names like Leon Edwards and Fabian Edwards and them sort of names. You know, I've got some good little guys who come over to my gym, like obviously Sam Creasy and Dominic Wooding and a few other guys, Bellator fighters and stuff like that who come down my gym. They come from all over the country to come down Birmingham to come and spar at my gym.
Because
yeah, we have Dominic on the show.
Yeah, Dominic, good lad, man. He's a good lad. Yeah, we have a lot of the top guys come down to Birmingham to train. So, yeah.
very cool, very cool. And what's your training regime look like in the course of a week? What kind of things do you do in the course of a week with training? Just kind of curious.
So like, you know, if we're talking like a training camp, I'm training, you know, 6 days a week, 2-3 times a day. You know, that like is obviously my boxing, my Thai boxing, my wrestling, my cage wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, my sparring, my strength and conditioning, track work, running. You know, so I do lots of training out of camp. I still train twice a day, 6 days a week. So like, you know, I'm always ready for a call up.
Yeah, you're ready. Yeah, exactly.
And
You're ready.
really, because I don't get out of shape. You know, obviously there's a difference between fight camp and out of camp. You know what I mean? Like out of camp, you know, it's a different sort of training. You know, probably less sparring. You know, give your brain a rest, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, I train hard out of camp and I train hard in camp. When I'm in camp, I'm you know, pushing. Everyone tells me I train too hard, or you know, Rocky and all them. Jake, you do too much. You do too much. But I think, you know, it shows in my fights. You know, I'm always the fittest guy in the cage. I mean, I did 5 rounds my last fight. I weren't even breathe. I didn't even have a drip of sweat coming down my forehead.
No,
You know what I mean? Against a world champ, a legit guy. So
yeah,
I think, you know, the proof's like proof's in the pudding. You know what I mean? What I'm doing is.
Is that why they call you White Zombie?
I think so.
No sweat.
Oh, very cool. So you're saying you spar? You're sparring obviously in the UK. That's interesting. Over here in North America, we're pretty much we can't do anything sparring wise. So so in your case, you're sparring. How often a week? How often a week do you spar right now?
Well, at the minute, obviously, I've just had my fight last week, so I ain't sparred yet or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Because obviously, I've just had a fight, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, but
be sparring.
Your usual training routine. It's how long? How often do you spar?
Basically, I spar twice a week when I'm in camp.
Good stuff. Yeah.
I just did a fight in September, so I did like a 9-week camp for that, and then I went straight into another 9-week camp straight after it. For this fight, for the title fight. So, you know, I've been in camp a long time, really sparring a lot, you know what I mean, twice a week. And we don't play spar, we spar hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's always the way I've done it. I know some people, they don't spar and they don't spar hard. But for me, it gets my reflexes there and my timing there. And you know, like feel like you're in a fight, so you got that energy, you know what I mean? So when you get to a fight, it just feels like sparring to me.
Yeah, no, exactly. You train so hard, you fight so easy that way, and that's
exactly true. Yeah, I spar like twice a week. When I'm in camp, if I'm out of camp, then I might spar maybe once a week or once every couple of weeks. I'd spar. Then you know what I mean, to give myself a rest off the, you know, the shots, because obviously it's no good for you at the end of the day. So you can't just keep doing shots. I don't take many shots, as you could probably see. I mean, it's only a week from my fight. I ain't got a mark on my face.
No kidding.
Yeah. Put him on the commercial. Get the commercial guys here. We gotta get him going.
Yeah, right on. Well, back to you, Kanai.
All right. Well, let's put on your analyst hat here for a moment, Jake, because there was a lot of activity last night in the UFC. But let's begin with the UFC flyweight division, your forte. Can you give us your thoughts on the division, and maybe the champion Figueiredo and what he was able to do, you know, defending the belt back to back recently.
Yeah, you know, I like Figueiredo. I like his, you know, he comes out to finish his opponents. To fight so close back to back, you know, that's you know, you can't knock him for that. That's a good thing to, you know, a big thing to be doing. Especially we all know he cuts a lot of weight to make the weight class. So, you know, my hat's off to him. You know, he looked good in the Perez fight. He looked very good in the Perez fight because you know it's over quick, so there's nothing to fault in his game. In the Moreno fight, obviously, there's a lot more you could take away from it. You know, some things I thought he didn't look so good at. Some things I thought yeah, well, he's definitely trying to eye poke him off his back, weren't he? He was pushing his hands in his eyes. He was meaning to do it. But you know what? In a way, I kind of like feel like, you know, like in a way, it's like if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I remember when I thought,
well, he was definitely trying.
Exactly, when I fought Zulu Boy in South Africa, he was poking my eye out. He was poking my eye with his thumb when I was trying to take him down. And in the fight, I was thinking, what a good move! What a good move to do! Like I was thinking, how smart! Like, that's such a good move to do. I was actually thinking that is real good. So you know what? I am gonna say like, you know, we all know he was trying to poke him, but like you gotta hide it. You know what I mean? He's trying to poke him.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You know, but there was mistakes in his striking, mistakes. You know, in my opinion, you know, he's leaving himself out there to get knocked out himself. You know, I mean, it's a matter of time before he gets banged out. In my opinion, you know, if I don't get to him before someone else gets to him, he's gonna get banged out himself. Like he leaves himself wide open to get knocked out. His hands are down by his waist, relies on his head movement and stuff. I don't want to give too much away, but someone will probably knock him out anyway before I get the chance to anyway, because he's open in my opinion.
So there you go. Yeah.
So so let me ask you this then: Figueiredo, Henry Cejudo, or Demetrius Johnson? Who would you take?
Well, as in who would be all them or?
Yeah, between those three get in there, and it's like a WWE triple threat match. They all get in there. Who comes out on top between those three?
I think the best guy out of all of them is definitely Mighty Mouse. You know, obviously we've said that Cejudo beat him that one time. You know, it was a close fight. I only rewatched the fight the other day, about a week ago. I rewatched the fight. Not even a week ago. I think it was sometime this week. I rewatched the fight. I mean, it was a close fight. Could have went either way. But as in skills and technical wise, Mighty Mouse is just the all-rounded better fighter than all of them, in my opinion. Like, as in, you know, he's got good striking, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, but he mixes it better than all of them. You know what I mean? He mixes his MMA better than all of them. It's not. Sometimes people get into a thing where they just strike and then they do jiu-jitsu, or they just strike and then they do rest. You know, they can't mix it. He can mix it. He's the best at mixing it. And I feel like if I was going to put anyone on the TV to watch him, I'd always watch Mighty Mouse. He's the most technical guy for MMA. And I think, you know, 8 times out of 10, he'll beat them too. You know what I mean? In MMA, obviously, things can happen, but 8 times out of 10, I think he beats them too, to be honest.
And then when the fight's over, he'll beat you up in the video games too. He'll put on UFC on the PlayStation and beat your butt there too. You can't get away from the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I don't play video games anymore. You know, thank goodness for that. But yeah, no, that's a very interesting assessment. You know, I was going to ask you, you know, who would you want to fight in the UFC as your first opponent? But then I came across your tweet there, challenging the other guy, the Titan FC champion there, Juan. And you two having going back and forth there. Now, for everyone watching, can you explain what that's all about and where the situation is right now?
The situation ain't nowhere. It's just like, obviously, I said someone put out he was trying to go for the UFC, and I was just like, I'll fight the guy, like, you know what I mean? And then obviously he started talking trash towards me. So then when he started talking trash, because he said something like my jiu-jitsu is rubbish or something like that, I thought, well, hang on a minute, let me have a look at this guy. So I put him on the TV, because you know, some of his fights are available like on the internet and stuff. And I had to put him on the telly. I had to watch one of his fights. Watched about a minute of it and thought, well, he don't stand it. He's going to get knocked out in about 30, 40 seconds. The way this guy was fighting, like he's not even on the caliber. And the last 4 guys I fought, nowhere near their caliber. You know, probably, you know, his stand up is horrendous. So I didn't even watch any more of it. I turned it off. Like, watch this guy. But you know, I'm just willing to fight anyone. But if you was to ask me who would I first fight in the UFC, I'd probably say, you know, probably Tim Elliott or Brendan Royval. Even bring me that high if you want. But obviously that probably wouldn't happen. But Jordan Espinosa, maybe, you know, that would be a good shout. But to be honest, I'll fight anyone. Anyone. Oh, you know what I mean? That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm ready for anyone now. I've been fighting top guys. I feel like the guys I've been fighting a UFC level competition. You know what I mean? I think here in Europe, it's a lot harder to get into the UFC as opposed to like guys, Americans who are local to the show. Like you put a UFC on, like, you know, and most of them American versus American or American versus a Swedish guy who lives in America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's just the truth. You know, I mean, I ain't trying to put anyone down. You know, that's just the truth. So I feel like sometimes it's harder for the Europeans. You know, that's why you see a lot of Europeans, they move from UK, move down to America, just say alpha male. They move there for 6 months just to get in the UFC. You know what I mean? Just to be easier access to the UFC.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
I agree. Definitely, because you're training with the UFC fighters at the very least, and you're being seen more often. Like you have a chance to at least get on the Contender Series or something of that nature, and get in that way.
Exactly. That's how JP Boys got in the UFC. You know, from the South Africa scene, he moved over to America, did a camp at Alpha Male, went on the Contender Series, lost, went back to Africa, come back to America, training at an American gym, and then got on the Contenders again, won, and got a contract. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people are doing to get in the UFC who are foreigners, you know what I mean? But I feel like, you know, how much more do I have to do? All these guys are top guys, top fighters. Everyone knows they are, especially on the UK European scene. You ask any journalist or anyone who knows anything about UK MMA, ask them about the flyweight division, and I guarantee you, first name they'll mention is my name, Jake Hadley. Guarantee you. Guarantee. You know what I mean?
Sure. Absolutely. You know, I guess it can be frustrating, you know, to be abroad and be the best and still be looking in on the glass door there. You've got to assume that, you know, Dana White, you know, he probably has a few messages or you know, people trying to hang him down, but the cream ultimately rises to the top. And, you know, if you keep doing what you're doing, I mean, there's just no question about it. You're eventually going to get in there. And so I have no doubt of that. But I want to continue your analysis here. We moved from the UFC to boxing very quickly because, you know, your mate there, Callum Smith, had a fight there with Canelo last night. And, you know, obviously things didn't go his way, but I know you were keeping track of the fight. So give me your honest thoughts on the fight and everything.
So, you know, Canelo's, you know, he's the best boxer, you know, right now, and he's, you know, he's the most famous one anyway, you know, by far he's the most famous boxer about. Actually, Smith's strength and conditioning coach is my strength and conditioning coach as well.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Enough. So, you know, I knew that the guy was in his top shape, he's been in and everything. So for Canelo to beat him the way he has beat him is, you know, it just proves he's the best. You know what I mean? He's the best. Obviously, we all knew that it was an hard fight for Smith. You know what I mean? But you know, no one can knock him. No one can knock him. He's, you know, fought the best guy in the sport, went 12 rounds. You know what I mean? Who can knock that? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, not much else to say about that.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing those honest thoughts. Over to you, Noel.
Certainly. Well, I was going to ask you, Jake, do you have a Boxing Pacific coach back home?
Yeah, I have a Boxing Pacific coach. He's more of like a guy who's been in the MMA scene as well.
Yeah.
His name's Ash Begg. He's like, he does the boxing work for Tom Breeze, who's in the UFC.
Okay.
He actually went out and cornered him in his last fight in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
When he knocked the guy out with a jab. So you know,
Wow.
he's his boxing coach. He also you know, does it for Rocky Edwards as well, Leon Rocky Edwards.
Yeah.
He does a lot of the top Birmingham athletes as well. So, you know, he's a top coach. I think my boxing's come along a lot since working with him.
Yeah.
I used to box as an amateur when I was a kid, like when I was like 15 to like 17.
Yeah, right.
I had a license and all that. I fought a few what we call white collar fights as well. They're like I don't know what they're called down in your side, but the more like unlicensed bouts. I had a few unlicensed bouts as well.
Oh, unsanctioned, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I've grew up around boxing. My dad was an amateur boxer.
Oh, is that right, eh? Interesting.
Yeah, my granddad was a pro boxer.
Wow, it's in the family.
My granddad had over 350 pro fights. He had
wow.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
I guess you guys.
He had bare knuckle fights and everything, bare knuckle fights and stuff like that. You know, he's passed away now, but he passed away before I was born. But you know, he would have you know, loved that on fighting. So
no kidding, yeah.
Hey, I guess
carrying on
kids,
through the
have
tradition
to be,
of the family. Yeah.
I guess as kids, you guys would have to be very quick at the dinner table, huh? I mean, you have to be quick.
Real quick.
And no back talk, no smarting off.
My dad comes and corners me for my fights and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so he comes out and corners me for my fights. You know, he's always been into like the fighting, the you know, the boxing and the MMA. So like, you know, he's got a wealth of knowledge in that. So, and obviously, you know, comfortable having my dad there and this and that. So
absolutely, yeah, 100%. I was gonna ask you too, who'd be your top 3 fighters of all time that inspire you the most? Who'd be your top 3 of all time?
Top 3. That's hard to say. Look, when I was younger, when I was a real young kid, I used to have different favorite fighters and stuff like that. But what my dad always told me is, look at the smart fighters and try learn off the smart fighters. You know, people like entertaining fighters. I don't know, like Diego Sanchez or something. He's entertaining. He'll stand in the pocket and swing. But what I like to watch is smart fighting. So a guy like George St. Pierre, he's smart. He's smart. He fights smart, like, you know what I mean. A guy like John Jones, smart fighter. Mighty Mouse, smart. You know, if you're looking at boxing, Sugar Ray Leonard, you know what I mean.
I do.
Smart fighter. He's nothing like. He ain't like you know, when he fights Roberto Duran, he ain't gonna fight in the pocket with him. He's gonna move off and he's gonna get away. Yeah. You know what I mean. Smart fighting. That's the best. You know, the best I like to watch is the smart fighters. You know, smart fighting can sometimes be boring, but I'd rather watch that sort of, you know, boring to the average eye. But I like to pride myself on that. You know what I mean? Have a longer career and be able to speak properly at the end of it at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
That's always a plus, yeah.
No, I totally agree. Because that's where you learn the most, like you're saying. You're watching the more the guys, the higher arena IQ in there, and seeing the more high skill. So it kind of teaches something, a little trick here, a little trick there. It's like you didn't quite notice before. It's like, yeah, actually, I'm going to use that. Yeah, it's so true.
I've learned a lot from watching fights. Like, you can learn loads from watching fights. Like, I've learned techniques.
Yeah.
From watching
a lot of tricks and
from watching fights. I've learned from other fighters' mistakes. From watching fights and watching them talk about their mistakes they've made.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe little things like underestimating an opponent, like for instance, I don't know, Tyson talking about how he underestimated Douglas. You know, just listening to things like that, you can learn a lot from listening. You can learn a lot from watching. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to pick up on all these things. Every mistake these past fighters have made, I try to learn from them.
Yeah.
And all the things they do good, or the things they do, you know, well.
Yeah.
What I spot and I look, oh, that was well. Even something they might have said, oh, that was something good to say. You know what I mean? This and that. Every little thing I try to pick up on, so I can be the best.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The best. I'm looking to be the best ever. You know what I mean? I know. You know, you're looking at someone, you know, young in the career. You think, oh, that's crazy to say, but that's what I'm looking to be. You know what I mean? That's why all my life is dedicated to MMA. I don't do nothing else. I don't play video games or anything like Mighty Mouse does, or watch TV. If I'm watching TV, I'm watching fight.
Yeah.
There's nothing in my life but fighting. That's all I focus on.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, it shows with your record. I mean, like you come a long ways, and very impressive record, and you know, impressive progress you've made so quickly in your fights. Very, very
24 years old.
Yeah. No, it really shows. It shows.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it does. So you're gonna be there. Don't worry, man. You're gonna be there. I can see it. I can see it. Absolutely. Back with your knife.
Yeah, I mean, these things have a nature of working themselves out, but you know, you've had an active year. You know, you've won the flyweight belt. You know, is the belt there by chance? Is it by your? Can you show us the belt?
It's upstairs. I'm downstairs at the minute.
Oh, okay. Are you at home or you're?
Yeah, I'm at home now. I'm at home. What do you want? Do you want me to grab it?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Okay.
I'll go grab it for you then.
All right.
There's a tour of the house at the same time.
Yeah, let's see the tour. You have the Christmas tree up there, or all right, look at this. The countdown cam here, courtesy of the Cage Warrior flyweight world champion.
In a virtual tour
here. Yes, and you know, this is what we do here on the BarnBurner TV Network and on Zingo TV. And look, there it is, the nice shiny belt.
Very cool.
And let me guess, it was in the bedroom by the pillow, right? Where you slept with it for the last week or so?
I usually go to sleep with it, don't I?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I think 9 out of 10 champions do. And the other one maybe doesn't want to say, but yeah, it looks nice and shiny. It looked pretty big on the telecast there when he was putting it on. Like it covered your whole like midsection there.
Yeah, it's a big belt.
It's a big one. It's big. It's big. Yeah, it's nice, man. It's nice.
That is.
Yeah, very nice there. Yeah. So speaking of the holidays, you know, because we're almost out of time here, actually. So maybe this might be the final question. What is the plan right now in terms of rest and relaxation? Like, what are your plans for the holidays? And do you have any goals or New Year's resolutions for 2021?
So, like next week, I'm still going to be training. Probably the only day I'll take off is Christmas Day and probably New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. I'll probably just carry on training. You know. I'll just carry on training all the way through. New Year's resolutions, I ain't got a New Year's resolution. I just, you know, I've never had a New Year's resolution, but as in goals for next year. Mm-hmm. My goal for 2020 was to get into the UFC. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've accomplished that goal or not. We're yet to see. But obviously the corona happened, the COVID situation happened. No one predicted that would happen. But I managed to have a somewhat active year, you know, with 2 fights, beat 2 of the best guys in Europe.
Yeah.
So my goal for 2021 is to get in the UFC, you know. You know, to have somewhere between 3 to 5 fights in the year. You know, and fight the best guys possible and get into the UFC. That's my goal. I feel like within once I signed to UFC, within a calendar year, I feel like with the right fights, as in pushing me up the ladder fights, I can get the belt within a year and a half. That's what I think I can do. So I ain't hoping and praying because I deserve it, but I hope I go to UFC now. But if I don't, I'll just defend my title against. The only problem is now I've cleared out Europe. That's the only problem. It's good. Then the only problem is who a cage warrior is going to bring me. Like the next best guy is my sparring partner, my teammate, or I train with on a daily. That's the next best guy in the country. So the problem is who they're going to bring me. I say bring me a former signed UFC guy. Defend my title. Bring me a former UFC athlete. Let me fight him so I can prove to the public. What levels I'm on. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking. Because I honestly, I'm sat here thinking who a cage warrior is going to bring me because there's no one for me to fight in Europe. Literally, the only guys who are on a win streak are guys that I've beat before.
Yeah, you don't want to go backwards.
I don't want to be doing that, do I? Really? So,
well, maybe Rocky could help you out there. A little chat with Rocky and.
Rocky's been speaking to people. Paradigm. He's been speaking to Paradigm. He's been speaking to the UFC about getting me on. He was trying to get me on his card, the same card he's on.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we've heard nothing so far. So, nothing I can do about that. But I just keep working, just keep winning, and just keep knocking on the door. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I can do.
I think that's the only surefire thing is just keep winning. Don't worry. Win, baby.
Exactly.
Just keep winning.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we are out of time today. Wow, the time is flying so quickly here when we're talking here. I want to thank you, Jake, for taking the time to share your story with us, and we hope to have you on again in the near future. Hopefully, when you are in the UFC or wherever you happen to be, actually.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, nice one, man. Thanks for that. Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. So there it is. Jake Hadley, the Cage Warriors, the newly crowned flyweight world champion there. And, we'd like to thank everyone for watching the show today. A reminder that today's show can be heard on the BarnBurner Radio Network and all of its 122 platforms. Please check out BarnBurner.ca for all the news that's late and great in the world of professional sports. BarnBurner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it, and we will see you all next week with another amazing episode. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you again, Jake.
See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.